Welcome back to another episode of Crystal Hook Fishing. I did not think I would be back out here for a long time, but here we are. The freaking Florida Keys, man. We're here on the very last day of black grouper season, trying to get it done, and then we might also go for some wahoo and some mutton. It's been a nice long bit though. Crazy waves for this little skiff. Alright, let me get done.
Welcome back underwater, everybody. Alright, so on this literally the very first dive in the water, I get down and I'm really rusty. The way I check this ledge is just wrong. I look all the way over, I don't get to the bottom first, and there's a huge black grouper right there. I see him. I could have taken the shot here, but I follow him because I'm not sure how close I need to be. I could have taken it here too. It was within range, and then he swims off. This was just me being rusty and bad and dumb and really terrible at spearfishing. But it was heartbreaking, and I was very mad. Okay, so I changed the pace after that because I was just so frustrated with that, and I dove for like another hour and didn't see anything. So went out to the blue water to do some wahoo drifting. This is my favorite gun in my arsenal. I made it last year, and it is yet to get a fish because of how little I do blue water fishing, and because I make the same mistake with this gun every single time I use it, which you'll see here. Going down on this wreck, I plane out at about 80 feet, which I'll do in a second. And you'll see as I get to this wreck that the visibility is not like perfect. It's not like super great, which is why I didn't stay for wahoo, because it just wasn't wahoo clarity. But there was a big school yellowjack on this dive. So I go down and I'm trying to hunt for those yellowjack because they're great sashimi. I pick out this big one, I give him too much lead, and I just miss. I just completely whiff. Yeah, I have no justification for that other than me being terrible at spearfishing. So blue water was bad, so I go back into the reefs, and on this like second or third dive of the reef, I actually find a little lobster, which is cool. You can see all the barracuda over in the distance, which is also kind of cool. But I kind of look under this ledge, and I'm looking around for pretty much anything that just is sitting up under the ledge, stone crab, lobster, and I find this little lobster. I kind of play with him, but he jumps back into the hole, and I don't really care enough to go grab a snare and try to deal with him. So I just go back to diving. As I'm swimming around, this school of yellowjack comes through, so I pick out a big one, I plug him. Good holding shot. This fish actually fought way harder than I thought it was going to fight. I go up to the surface and he's just dogging me straight down. For the size fish he was, I was really surprised. But after tugging back and forth with him a little bit, I managed to get him up. This next fish was just a barracuda that was asking for it. I line up on him and I'm like, no, I want to make sure I get a good headshot. So I do a little duck dive. And after doing my duck dive, I level with him and get exactly where I want the shot to be, like it's a wahoo. I end up shooting him straight through the eyes, which is not the best thing to do because the eyes are pretty soft. You do want a headshot. He's like kind of jumping right there. And so he freaks out, and he's swimming away from me. And at this point, I've kind of noticed that the spear is through his eyes, which has me freaked out. Because one, that means he's completely blind, which means he could just swim at me, mouth open, and he wouldn't even know. And two, it means that I have to be really careful, because you can see there's not much keeping that spear in. So I'm just kind of playing him as carefully as I can before I grab the spear. Because once I grab my spear, I'm going to try to slide my hand all the way up towards his face and stop it. But he kind of jerks as soon as I grab the spear, and he slides off. But he's blind, and I know he's blind, and he's like, he can't see, he can't really go anywhere. So I collect my breath, and I just kind of follow him while I get my spear, and I'm kind of deciding if I want to reload and just load one band and reshoot him, or if I think I can just go down and poke him back through the eyes again. And I end up deciding to just follow him for a second, dive back down, and poke him back through the eyes. So because he's blind, he literally just runs into the reef right here, boink, and he gives me a good opportunity to just slide it back through. And then I grab him and got the barracuda. Getting him in the boat was a little annoying because my dive buddy was out a little further away. So I kind of just lifted him up over the side, threw him in, and he immediately freaked out. Then I go and brain him and put him in the live well. The reason I'm putting him in the live well is because in order to figure out if they have ciguatera, you have to put some of the meat in ants, and if the ants eat it, then it's good. If they don't eat it, then it's not good. But yeah, you gotta wait. So I keep it away from the other fish just in case it does have ciguatera, so I keep it in the live well, not the cooler. Here you'll see a black grouper on the top of the screen. I'm kind of following him around. It's pretty shallow, so I'm mellow, staying on the surface, waiting for him to duck down and think he's safe for me to do my duck dive, which I do right here. And then as soon as I duck dive, I get as quickly over to him as possible and take the shot. Once I get the shot, I do not want him going into a hole, so I grab the spear and I kind of wrench him out. I know I have a good holding shot, and I don't want him getting all rocked up. So pull him out. And I get him up, and once I get him up, I turn my GoPro off, and then he wrenches himself out of my hand, so I have to pull him back up. So I turn my camera back on to do that. And yeah, that's a black grouper. So we got sashimi, and we got some nice yummy grouper. We've hit most of the goals for the day so far. But we also see this cubera that you can see in the top of the screen here. So I dive down, and he immediately notices me and freaks out. So I have to take a long shot kind of away. He was out of frame, but he takes off. This spear is in his gut, and it's not actually poking through the other side, but I don't know that. So I'm being really careful, just like playing him as soft as I can. I go back to the surface when I realize he's wrapped around a rock, so I can collect my breath and go back down and grab him. I want him to kind of, start dying a little bit from the spear, like let his injury kind of tire him out, because I don't want him fighting too hard when I try to grab him, or else he'll tear himself out of the spear. So I go down to kind of assess what's going on here, and I see him laying out in the sand, and I can tell the spear's not all the way through. So the first thing I do is grab his tail and push the spear through. He kind of starts swimming away, but then I push it through. You'll see it go through the other side there, and then I can bring him up. And that way I'm sure that the flopper will deploy even if he wrenches out of my hands. And I bring him up, and once I brought him up, I brain him.
Oh, all right. It is a little bit wavy-ish. We just got the cubera in the boat. My GoPro died actually as I was like braining the cubera, so let's hope it saved the footage. But the sun is kind of coming down, as you can see. The boat is an absolute mess. Look at this. But the key here is, and there's a little bit of rockiness because this skiff should not be out like this. Key is, we got cubera, we got black grouper, we got yellow jack, and the cuda is in the live well. I don't want it with the other ones in case it has ciguatera. But yeah, good day. My personal favorite part, on the boat, fresh as can be, sashimi and the sunset there. Truly awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and sashimi this guy up. Should be fantastic. Our first piece here, nice view too. Gonna give it a little dip and give it a go. That was good. I really like the yellow jack. And a whole other fillet right here too. I'm currently filleting this cubera in a hotel room. I have that bag for scraps in the carcass, but I might never be allowed back in this hotel again.